Someday, we'll need to be somewhere again. And when that day comes, Amtrak is here for you with mask requirements, space for distancing, and efficient air filtration. So when you're ready, we're ready to take you.
Yo, I can't.
Welcome back, everybody. We're all together. We're all here. We're all good, Eric. You good, Eric? Oh, we lost Eric. Chris, it's just you, me, and Tyler.
There we go. I can't.
Can you? I can't hear Chris.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, we got it.
All right. Fuck, man.
This is going smooth.
Hey, what a great jersey behind you.
Yes, it's signed, too.
Oh, yeah?
Signed by Eric Devendorf. Yeah, I know.
Oh, you got it from one of those boosters, huh? They're boosting those jerseys outside, man.
I bought it before the NIL deals came in, so you didn't get any cash off.
Hey, T, man, appreciate you hopping on the Devo and Chris Joe show.
Of course, man. Long overdue, but we got it right finally.
We got you in the queue, so we had to get you on, man. Hey, bro, I wanted to start it off, just ask you, how did you, from Canada, Toronto, end up getting to St. Benedict's and not staying in Toronto? Because Toronto is like, now it's kind of a hotbed for hoops, bro. So what made you want to leave and come to America and go to high school here?
Really, it's within the last probably 5 to 10 years, it became a hotbed. But before that, everyone had to go to a prep school. So I kind of was just following in the steps of Corey Joseph, Tristan Thompson, who, were top of their class, but they were Canadian. And to be ranked, you have to be in the States. So back then, if you were a Canadian guy, they weren't going to put you in the rankings, and you really weren't going to be in front of many college coaches. So everyone went to prep schools, trying to get scholarships, trying to get ranked, everything like that. St. Benedict's happened. I actually went to school in Chicago first semester, Lake Forest Academy. My older brother graduated from there, Dylan. And halfway through, I was like, it sounds terrible, but it just wasn't enough basketball for me. It was such an academic focused school. The basketball program was we had some pretty good guys, but it just wasn't what I expected it to be, especially with me kind of being, I was a sophomore at the time. So I was looking to get my name out there. I thought Chicago would have been a great, city, and Illinois is a good state for basketball. It didn't work out. I went home for Christmas break, and Rashawn McLeod, who was the coach at St. Benedict's at the time, called my dad, who, for those that don't know, is a coach, and said, I don't know who you got. I need a point guard. He didn't call for me. He just kind of needed a point guard. Yeah. And my dad's like, well, they suck right now, so you're going to go in and you're going to have to lead some older guys. I was a sophomore. So I decided to go. That was the first jump. I went to school with my brother. First time being away from home, and I transferred to Newark, New Jersey. If you've ever been there, it ain't the prettiest city to be in. So I was there for basketball and obviously education, but I was on a mission, and from game one is what kind of when my recruiting started. I got my first 3 offers, my first game there, and I told my dad, I don't know how long I'll be here at this all boys school behind these gates and everything, and I ended up spending 2.5 years there. So it was probably the best thing for me at the time.
Well, how did all that start though? Like in the beginning, to where you start growing up playing, and then you're like, your dad or your family, you guys had that talk, all right, you're gonna have to get out of here. You know what I mean? For you to, get to the level that you want to get at. When did that those conversations start happening?
I think really before EYBL and everything like that, we would only go to tournaments that were pretty close to the border. So we went to Detroit, we went to Buffalo, we went to Rochester. We'd go to all those tournaments just because it wasn't a too far drive from Toronto for us. And that's kind of where you test to see how good you are. You know what I mean? For me personally speaking, it'd be like, I think I'm the best in Canada, but I got to play these dudes from Detroit that are ranked to see where I'm at. And so you'd go and, you'd win some, you lose some, and you kind of go back either like, all right, they can't mess with me, or like, all right, I got some work to do. So my brother went to school without a visa because we're international, technically being from Canada, you need a visa to go. And a lot of schools didn't do it at the time. So he was just kind of thugging it out, crossing the border when he can. And once my dad seen how serious they took it for him when he was in New York, he I think once he knew I was mature enough off the court, he was like, all right, you're ready to go. But I was begging him to go from 8th grade. I wanted to leave right away. And he was like, no, you need to be at least 15, 16 before I let you go and be on your own.
We're losing everybody here. You brought up the fact of the jump from that, from going to Canada to that level. Coach Boeheim tells us that freshmen can't play point guard. He tells us that all the time. What was that jump for you like? And just maybe you could tell about the difference in the game from going from high school to college.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think it's a multitude of things. I mean, I grew up playing against older guys. I think I've always been a little bit more mature than my age, playing wise. And yeah, I came to Syracuse because it was my favorite school growing up, my dream school. But I kind of put that on the back burner when I started getting recruited by essentially everybody else. And the final tipping point was the opportunity to play as a freshman. So yeah, I mean, I think if you give most guys that have experience, I played on the national level for Team Canada. I played, in every situation you could be in up until that point. So I think I was ready for it, regardless of from age and everything.
So what made Syracuse your favorite team when you were growing up? And where did the love affair start?
Man, it started. They used to do the Carrier Dome Classic, the AU tournament. I don't know. I don't think they still do it, but they just used to put 1 million courts in the dome, and they'd have 10 and under up till 17s. And we brought 5-6 teams from Canada. My dad has an AU program that he founded, so he brought us up here, and I got to see the dome. I played in the dome. I want to say Johnny Flynn was doing the score on one of the games, and I thought that was so cool that he went here. And another thing was in Canada we didn't have at the time a bunch of college games on TV, but we would always get the Syracuse games on Sundays, the day games. I used to play Devo. We would get those, and those were the games I would watch because you don't know when you're going to get another game. So, so I kind of decided this is my dream school. It's close to home. At that tournament, I was like 10 years old, and getting to walk in the Carrier Dome and walk around campus and everything was kind of what made it my dream school. And from there, it just, obviously when you get good players, watching these guys, you continue just being a fan of them, but also the school. And it kind of just continued from back then. We always had good players. So
walk us through the recruiting process. What schools were hot on you, and was there ever any doubt that it was Syracuse?
Yeah, I almost committed to Arizona, actually, as a junior. I took a visit there, and it was, I'm from the East Coast. I'm from, the snow.
You in Arizona? Arizona.
Yeah, it was. I was like, y'all live out here all year round. So, but at the time, I was getting recruited. I was probably top 30, top 20 in my class, and but there was Scoop, Dion, MCW, Trish. It was just flooded at the guard spot, and I'm like, as much as I love Cuse, I don't want to go there and not play. Like, I have an opportunity to play at a bunch of schools and start right away. I want to do that, give myself the best chance and the best opportunity from the get-go. So for a while, I wasn't really messing with Syracuse as far as just the situation-wise. Cuse was a little late, too, to offer me as well. But once Dion left early, Scoop graduated, Trish was a senior, and MCW started the year crazy. And I'm like, all right, I think he's entering the draft is when I was like, bet, this is going to go from a bad situation with all these guards to essentially the best situation I could possibly get, which it was.
So I'm going to backtrack a little bit because I got kicked off. Sorry. Was there a particular player that I don't know if you talked about or Paulie asked it that made you want to come to the Cuse? I know you said you mentioned Johnny Flynn. Was there a particular guy that you're like, damn, like I want to play the Cuse because he is?
I think Johnny was probably and it's stupid thinking about it. Obviously he could hoop and everything, but he used to wear Jordans. He used to wear these 8s. and they were orange. And I remember that was like, when I get to Cuse, I'm gonna wear that, and like just little kid shit. But yeah, I think Johnny and I mentioned it. I think you got kicked off. The Carrier Dome Classic they used to have in the dome where they put all the AU courts down and we play. And I remember everyone was going crazy because I think he was like doing the score or something. And they're like, yeah, he goes here. He's playing here, whatever it was. And I was like, thought it was the coolest thing as a kid. And then obviously everything, the success of the program, being close to home. It was like, all right, this looks like it'd be the perfect situation for me. If it kind of winds up that way when I'm a senior, then I want to go there. But, like I was saying, it didn't look like it was going to line up until the very end.
Am I in, man? Jordan, Paulie, the fuck is going on?
Back.
God
Yes,
damn,
sir.
I done missed fucking 10, 15 minutes of story time and shit. Tyler, what's good, baby? Jesus
What's
Christ.
up, man? You on that Montreal Wi-Fi, see?
Look, it's always my shit on my end. Something's always going on. But we good. We back. Now I'm using my phone.
Even.
My battery's about to
We
die.
even right now.
All types.
We
even.
two Americans versus two Canadians.
Hey, if we go 2-on-2, I like our chances because Paulie, you ain't doing shit out there.
Yeah,
so
you're
what's
all
going
right.
on?
You're all right.
Yeah.
You guys got a little bit
You're
of...
fucking right about that. I'm gonna go hard as fuck though.
That's a fact.
Tyler, man, what's good? I know I miss a lot, I'm trying to get everything up and running, man, but I appreciate you hopping on with us for sure. It's
For
one
sure,
that
man.
I've been waiting for.
Thanks for having me on here, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, yo, T, I want to ask this question, bro, because this is in my memory bank, and it was first when you arrived on campus, because me and Joe talked about it before we hopped on. James was a senior, I think, right? James Sutherland, or he didn't play?
Sutherland.
He wasn't
I
on
want
there.
to say
He
he might have been when I got
he
here,
wasn't.
my freshman year. Or
So
you talking
your
about when I
freshman-
was?
When you came up, do you remember playing 2-on-2 with me, D. Nick, and James?
No, I don't. Did we play?
You
We
don't
play
remember?
twos?
We did play
Hell
twos.
no.
You probably didn't remember because it didn't go too well for y'all, man.
Who was it? It's me and James.
It was you and James, me and D. Nick, because we did the old heads versus the young fellas.
I don't remember that, bro. I do remember playing. I don't know if they still have it. The kids camp in the dome, and we'd go at night and hoop for them. And he
that's
came the
tough.
first
That was
day,
always something good.
and Devo bust my ass. I was like, damn, I got to get better, bro. I got to get my shit together.
Yo, Tyler, where did who did you like mirror your game after? Because like you seem to be like always in control. Like your pace is always on point. You always
Very poised.
Yeah, you always able to make it doesn't seem like, because people watch you play at first, you're like, damn, is he going hard? But then you see me like, oh, that's that motherfucker pace. He never gets sped up. You know what I mean? Like he's always in control. He's able to make the right decision. Who did you watch to where you made your game like that, or was it your pops? Or who was it?
From an NBA standpoint, it was Nash and Steve Nash and Jason Kidd. Yeah, I like I said, I grew up playing with my older brothers, so I was always the youngest. I wasn't athletic, so passing naturally became what I did. But yeah, I think it's just my brother used to be a pass first point. Now he's a score only guard, but yeah, he used to be a passer. He used to be a passer, so I was just following him. Like he played with Tristan when he was younger, so he was passing the ball. And I just wanted to be like him, so I started passing and whatever. But yeah, as far as the poise, I used to get a lot of shit for it from my dad. Like, do you want to play? And I'm like, what do you want me to? I'm not gonna be out there yelling. Like that's just it's never been me. I think I'm more emotional now on the court than I was probably in college and high school, just because sometimes it's needed. But yeah, I mean, for years they used to think I didn't want to play, and I'm like, no, I like to play. What are you talking about? So,
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, I'd say those two guards.
I know exactly what you mean, Tyler. I went through the same shit, bro. Like, just laid back, don't really say much, let the game come to me, don't force nothing. It's like,
Yeah.
do you want to play? I'm like, yeah, I do. Shit, you don't see me, I'm out here. You know what I mean? But I'm not one of them guys that would yell crazy. But
yeah, I'm opposite.
So.
You gonna fucking hear me right when I get on that court.
No question.
It's just automatic though. For me, like like even when we were practicing the last few days, and if I'm on that court, it's just automatic. I'm fucking something's gonna be fucking
You
said. You
talking
might
shit?
not
Yeah.
talking shit. It might not make fucking sense. I might just be hollering. You know what I mean? It's just some shit for me that got
Get you
my
going.
energy. Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
fucking edge. You know what I mean? And everybody's different. You know what I mean? Everybody's
Yeah.
different. Lord. You know what I
Hey,
mean?
my fault, T. I'm assuming at this point you touched on how you got the Saint Benedicts and all that, right? I must have missed that part of the story. All
Yeah.
right, I ain't going. So I'm not gonna ask again. Okay, I guess I might have to watch the show and shit after we're done. I might have to just watch the show and get that first 10, 15 minutes. You know, that's all that
But
is.
yeah,
All
no,
right,
I was telling them how now it's Toronto, not Toronto, Canada's like a hotbed, and everybody kind of respects us now as far as the kids coming up. But back, it wasn't like that forever. You know what I mean? So that's
no
essentially
question.
why I went to a prep school, just because I'm like, they're not gonna come up here to watch me. Like they're not gonna let's go up to Canada and watch this kid. No, they'll watch me if I'm in Jersey, or if I'm in
Facts.
Chicago, wherever it is. But like, they weren't
Facts.
taking a flight up to Toronto to come watch a kid play
And
back
shit,
then.
you said Toronto. Toronto, at least you guys had the Raptors. You guys had some shit. Imagine being from Montreal, bro. I had to get the fuck
Right.
going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I got to DC and I had to do what I had to do because it was definitely nobody taking no trips to Montreal to watch anybody play. So I feel you 100%.
Bro, your first year coming into Cuse, what were your expectations of yourself? Because the first year you come in, I mean, your team that year had the best start in Syracuse history, right? I think 25-0,
Yeah.
and I remember that next game, it was a low fucking scoring game. You guys lost to Boston College, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was it Boston College? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's Boston College. Yeah.
What were your expectations coming in for yourself and for the team?
First year in the ACC.
Yeah.
First year in the ACC, so I knew it was going to be a little bit more like you can't come in and have a terrible season. Obviously, just the tradition wise, you don't want to come in and be the guard like you let us down. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to be a part of that history of guards.
But you're a freshman too, though. You're a freshman too.
Yeah,
so
but
like,
I wasn't thinking of that though. Like I knew I was going to come in and play once MCW was kind of on the way out, and I felt like I was ready. But in all reality, I wasn't thinking about the NBA at all. My first year, I think in my mind, I thought like, all right, after 2 years, I could probably leave, just based on like how most guards. I think at the time, Trey Burke did 2 years and left. Most guards were doing 2 years and leaving, unless you were like John Wall and like super athletic like freaks. So yeah, I didn't think about it at all. Up until probably like halfway through the season, we were like on a away game in the hotel, and it came up like the mock draft, and I was like top 10, and I was like, oh shit, I'd be like I might have to get up out of here in a few months. But yeah, I put no pressure. I didn't put any pressure on myself as far as the NBA, and I think that's why it kind of organically came, because it was about the team. It's like, shit, I got CJ was a senior, Rock was a junior, Jeremy Grant was a sophomore. All these guys are older than me, more experienced, but I got to like lead them. I got to get them the ball. I can't be turning it all. Like, essentially, I knew everything. Without me, that they weren't going to be able to be successful, and I knew how good we could be. So I was just locked in, man. I was off social media with everything, and I was just in the lab with Trevor a lot, with GMAC, and everything worked out.
Speaking on GMAC, was that your guy? That's who you got most of your work working with. GMAC was the one who really you feel like propelled you to a certain level. Like when you got there, what was your first thoughts of just college basketball as a whole? And then throughout the course of the year, you got better. Really better. Coming into play offensively, you knew you would have the ball in your hand for the bulk of the game. Like how did you do with becoming that guy, I guess, for the team, the one that makes the engine go?
Yeah, I mean, so Red recruited me. GMAC kind of came in later. As far as bringing me to Cuse, I would say Red was like the guy recruited me. But getting here, GMAC was who I worked with on court because he was the guard coach. So yeah, I was like, for the first couple weeks, I was like still looking at him as like, yeah, that's GMAC. It wasn't like that's my coach.
GMAC,
It was like, so I'm just like, everything he's saying, I'm like, I used to go and watch him shoot. He used to shoot on the gun. I used to go watch him, and Devo would be there working out. I used to just watch them, and Devo would actually use my ID card to get into Mello, and I'd go and work out with him all the time. But
oh yeah.
But yeah, man. Yeah, GMAC's obviously a different player than I am, but I think I kind of just took his toughness mentally. You know, sometimes, you know, he'd hop in practice and kind of show us what he's like. This is what I'm talking about. And but yeah, I think I just got comfortable because I knew, like in high school, there was teams where I'd have to be the playmaker and score, and the game was kind of dependent on me. And obviously, it's a much lower level than college basketball. But I'm like, there could be games I might not have to score and we'll still win. So I knew scoring wasn't what I was out there for. That wasn't the main reason that I was the starting point guard. It was make sure shit is in order, make sure CJ gets the ball, make sure these guys are getting the ball in their spots. And when shit goes wrong, all right, now we need you to score. And I think that naturally I just kind of knew when I needed to score and when I needed to get certain guys the ball. And I think we had a perfect roster for that. Like everyone had their role. Nobody was fighting me to play point. Nobody was fighting Trevor to be the two. Like everybody had their role and kind of just came together at the start of that season.
That's hard.
You know, you guys talk.
Go ahead, Paulie.
You talk about the start of that season being 25-0. A lot of people forget you guys really struggled with St. Francis early on prior to going to Maui, and
and Cornell.
Was that kind of a wake up? Was that kind of a wake up call for you? You know that this is just St. Francis, and this is difficult.
Well, no. So taking it back even further, Chris, we went up to who do we played Carleton. I'm saying Carleton, Canadian college. We went up and we played 3 games in Canada, and 2 games were blowouts, and we played Carleton. I think they took us to overtime, and we barely won. So
69-65.
Yeah, so we were like we won, good job. We just started practicing all of that, but I'm like, Carleton's pretty good. Like they play together, but like this is not North Carolina. We got work to do. And then we almost, I don't say we almost lost, but we were down like 20 points to Cornell that year when the first games. It might have even been preseason, but Cornell ended up being like the worst team in the NCAA. Like that was just what I think it was part of the growing process. Me is my first time stepping on a college court, and I was playing 35 minutes a game. So luckily we didn't blow any games we shouldn't have in that in the first couple games. And then I think Maui was when it was like we kind of started seeing it come together. Everyone just stepped up. We beat Baylor. We beat University of California. And UConn. Another team, I don't remember.
UConn, right? Was it UConn?
No,
Minnesota.
So
Minnesota.
Going in, I'm like, all right, we can win this. Like, we're going to have a good team. And we did. So from there, we just had the momentum. But I think that Canadian trip really helped us and helped me in particular, just like catching up with the speed of things, the plays. Exactly. So I think that helped us a lot.
People
real
don't
quick, Tyler. Oh, my fault.
Go ahead, Joe. No, go ahead, Joe.
No, I want to ask you just real quick. I want you to when did you commit to Syracuse? Was it your junior year, senior year of high school?
It was the summer going into my senior year. I was with the national team.
Summer going into senior.
And yeah, I was in Brazil. Go on.
Okay. Because I remember it was a time where we were with the national team. We had nothing going on. We didn't have a tournament that summer, but we were all in Toronto for, I guess, a weekend or whatever it was. And you were there, right? So you obviously, you were still, is that this summer? I don't know if you had committed already or if you hadn't, but I remember talking to you about Syracuse and me thinking like, damn, we got us one because we were there. And, obviously at that point it's all pros and all, college guys playing, and you were holding your own for that weekend. So I was like, okay, yeah, he's really nice. And I remember we were talking, me, you, your pops, I think was there too. And we were just discussing Syracuse, and I'm not sure if you were committed or not at that point, but I knew that for me personally, I said, okay, we're in good hands. Like, we don't got nothing to worry about if he's the one that's going to be running the show. So, that was dope.
I appreciate that. Speaking of that, I think I was committed by then, if I'm getting it right. But that was huge for me because I never played like I played against pros, like, you know, you go to open gym, there'll be 1 or 2 pros and the rest are fill-ins. That was like my first opportunity to play like a man's game. Everybody's good. Everybody's, and I think, and they brought us, I was in high school. So I'm like, all right, you know, I gotta show what I could do. And I remember they tried to young boy me at first and like not playing me or whatever. So I'm like, all right, when I get in, I got to go crazy because. But yeah, it was big. I left that camp like, okay, I can hold my own. Like, you know, it sounds cocky, but I'm like, all right, I'm as good as I think I am. Like I could play here. You know what I mean?
No, shit. Talk your shit. Yeah.
Talk your shit. Whenever you get the chance to talk your shit, you gonna talk your shit. I know I am. I'm gonna talk my shit every chance I get to. Yo, T, so I know during the recruiting process, obviously you said Red was recruiting you. I'm sure you met GMAC and Coach Boeheim through that time. But when did you really meet Coach Boeheim? And you know what I'm talking about when you really in the game, when you know he got into it with somebody in the locker room, he heard about cocksucker and shit like that. When was that your moment where you experienced that? And then you kind of was like, God damn, Coach. That's the real shit, right?
It was a Toronto tournament, man. We or the preseason, whatever trip. It was like the Carleton game. To break it down, CJ rolls his ankle, so they just take him out because it's like it's preseason, sit down. So CJ's like, yo, you got to go win the game for us. Like I'm not playing, and I'm like, all right. And so that's when I just started scoring. I don't remember what I ended up with, but I remember after the game, coach is doing his whole speech or whatever. And he goes, everyone thinks you played well. You took 16 shots and you only made 4, like whatever. I'm like, damn, I thought I just won us the game. And so he did.
Yeah, that's coach.
But I was like, all right.
He'll put you reality check. Yeah, that's funny as shit. Coach funny as hell for that.
But look, I want to, and I'm going to ask a tough question right here. You know, 25-0. You start the best start in school history. But then you guys get to the tournament. Expectations is high. So you get to the tournament, you don't get to the expectations that you thought you would. You lost in the second round of Dayton. What the fuck is coach saying in the locker room right there? It's a whole nother motherfucking thing. I already know. Because I hadn't been through it. I hadn't seen him. Yeah. Paul Harris was kind of like the punching bag.
After we lost the Dayton game?
Yeah.
It was me he was on, actually. Because we played like crap that whole game. And at the end, when everything kind of speeds up, we're just trying to score quick, and I just kept getting easy buckets. I was getting into the cup, and for some reason, I shot like a step back jumper at just the wrong time, and so he was pissed, like, and rightly so. It's the tournament, you know what I mean? And I scored at the basket a couple times in a row, and that's what he was mad at because he's like, I don't care if you miss, but like, why are you have a big man? And he broke it down, and I'm like, fuck, I fucked up. And after that, I even got a shot at like the buzzer that like hit the rim, and he's like, that was a good shot, but the step back is why we lost the game. And I'm like, it's valid, but we played like shit. Nobody played well up until, you know, It was like, oh, we're about to go home, and then we kind of turned it up. So, but yeah, it was me. I was the punching bag that day.
Yeah, you guys didn't score outside of the paint in that game. I remember there's no 3-pointers.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard to win like that. What did that?
They were at us though.
Yo, T, did that game right there? I don't know if you had made up a decision or not, like before that game that you was going to enter the draft or whatever. But did that game, like, did you kind of go back and forth after that? Like, fuck, I got to come back and you know what I mean, and end on a better that, or was it just like, nah, I'm gone?
Yeah, no, I wasn't decided at that time. I knew I had to make a decision. Yeah, I knew I had to make a decision probably like before the conference tournament. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm either going to have to decide to stay or like make this jump. But after that game, you know, it just leaves a bitter feeling, you know, being that we were the number 1 team for most of the year. And it's like, you know, I think if you lose in the Final Four, it hurts, but it's different when you get upset in the second round. So, but I knew the team was going to be completely different. CJ was leaving, which was a huge part. Kind of carried us a bunch of games. I didn't know what Jeremy was going to do. Excuse me. And even back then, I didn't know if coach was going to be back, So I was just like,
shit.
There's a lot
It's been 10 years.
Yeah, it's been, I know.
Yeah, but hey, he was supposed to be fucking going when I was playing. And Hop was the coach waiting. I'm at the Applebee's in Atlanta. It go under the screen, Coach Mike Hopkins, coaching waiting. Man, here the fuck we are in 2022, motherfucker.
But yeah, no, it was. It ended up just being me, like, kind of looking at it like the season we had. I'm able to enter the league at 19 years old. I knew Toronto was picking 20th, and I knew I wasn't going to drop below there. So I'm like, I don't think I could have that was my floor. I'm like, the furthest I'll go is 20. So, and I was projected to go, I think, from 6 to 14 or something like that. I'm like, what more do I want? I want to be like, I'm trying to be the number one pick? You know what I mean? So I think just looking at how everything's went since I left school, I've had 3 surgeries, I've had injuries. The team didn't play in the tournament the next year. Saying that, I think I made the decision that was best for me at the time. I think hindsight, you could say maybe I would have been ready body-wise for the NBA with another year or two. But also, I've seen way too many guys have a great freshman year and go back and never touch the NBA. So
you never know. You never know what happens, bro. Like you said, you could get hurt.
You got to bet on yourself, man.
Yeah, so that's a fact.
Eric brought up the negative, but there is one moment from that year that will always live in everybody's head, and let's take a quick look at that.
2 seconds. He'll get a shot off on the way. Got it! He hit the shot.
Yeah.
Syracuse wins it.
He's talking a little shit right there. Yeah,
look at him.
He's watching the clock the whole way up. He knows he's got about 3 dribbles.
Oh, that was so cold. At Pitt, yo. Oh, man.
On the
so hard to play there.
Yeah. No, they're rowdy, man. They were talking shit from when we walked out. They were talking shit to us. Like, probably the worst we got that year. So I was ready to talk my shit once I hit that shot.
Yo, hell yeah! What was that feeling like?
Had you ever hit
that? Another game we were just like, we didn't play well. We kind of stayed in it. I hit a couple big free throws at the end. CJ hit some big shots. Jamie Dixon took a timeout, which kind of gave us the opportunity to set up, which probably wasn't the best move because we had nothing. We didn't know, we were just going to scramble. So he took a timeout. Coach drew up a play, and it was for CJ to go long. And I'm thinking Pitt is aggressive as hell. They're not letting him get a long distance throwing it. So I'm like, Jeremy is inbounding. Coach drew it up. And I went to Jeremy. I said, if he's not open, give it to me. Don't throw it. Don't just throw it because Coach said to throw it. And so he's like, all right. And so CJ went. And if you look, me and him are both looking, and I'm like, he's smothered. So that's when I got it, and I knew if I got past half court, I'm like, all right, I could get it off because they had a guard on me that was smaller. So I'm like, I just didn't want to shoot a 1 foot, you know what I mean? Heave. Right. I'm like, let me just get as close as I can, yeah. And if I could get set, I'm gonna hit it. So it's funny, all the game winners I've ever hit didn't feel good, but they go in, and the opposite. When they feel good, they miss. That was one of the only ones where I'm like, oh, that feels good. And it ended up going in. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it was,
I was in the airport.
Their heart.
Yo, I was in Athens, Greece, man. I remember that in the airport. That's crazy, though. I remember that shot. I was sitting on my phone in the airport in Athens, Greece, and I seen that shit going. I'm like, damn, that shit was tough. That moment at the zoo, because like you said, you go to the zoo, bro. My freshman year, or every year I went to the zoo. I think I probably went there 2 times. I mean, these dudes got fucking cheat sheets and your mom and your sister, your fucking cousin.
My sister. My sister was 10 years old. I'm like, bro, come on, bro.
10 years old.
That's crazy.
I'm normally out on the court earlier than most people, and Eric, you were out there shooting by yourself
you
at the zoo
remember
one
that.
time, and I'm like, I don't know how the hell he puts up with it. Like, they were brutal. Like, I remember Coach Boeheim coming out and asking you if you wanted to go back in.
So look,
it was bad.
This was when I had gotten in trouble off the court, right? So I had got in trouble with the female. So I go to that whole season. Every team they on my head. You know what I'm saying? They on my head. They don't know what the fuck happened. They gonna talk shit regardless. So I go to fucking like this is what Paulie was saying. We playing at Pittsburgh. It's just me. It's just me going out there. I go out there early to go. It's a fucking sold out crowd, yo. So right when I start shooting them, the whole fucking crowd start yelling this girl name, and I'm just telling the whole crowd yelling her name for like 5-10 minutes straight. I'm just shooting form shot. I was like, yo, what the fuck?
Crazy. It's crazy,
Coach
man.
Yeah, Coach Ban, like, you want to come back in? Are you all right? Like, man, I'm good. I'm good. I can't go in now.
Yeah, you got to stay out.
Yeah,
you can't. You have to stay out there.
Yeah, they're gonna think, we got his ass. Yep, you let them win. Hey, Tyler, I want to ask you this, man. You end up getting first team All ACC defensive team, right? So what was it like for you? You averaged what was maybe a little under 3 steals a game. How was that zone for you? You know, and I know, and I always tell people, I know when you went through your process and you're going and you're interviewing these teams, I know probably every one of them teams asks you about playing zone versus how do you feel you would fare in the NBA playing man-to-man. But you end up getting all defensive honors, which is big, out of a zone especially. So what was that like for you learning the zone and, you know, learning where you could get your steals at and pick apart an offense while playing the zone?
Yeah, I picked it up pretty quick. Once I got to school, we started learning. We work on it every day, y'all know. So I picked it up pretty quick. I think I realized, and I was actually telling Judah, the freshman, yesterday. I just realized, like, I got to use my length in here because it's hard to guard. If people think it's easy, they think we're just sitting there chilling, making you shoot. It's like, as a guard, you're moving a lot. We're chasing, like, we're moving around. So I'm like, I got to figure out a way because I'm not the fastest dude. I'm not going to be able to do this, do that, get here, cover the middle. So I'm like, I just use my length. And so a lot of times, man, I would just use my arms. I'd have my arms up, and they would pass the ball right to me. Like, obviously there's reads as well. Like, everybody, I know they're going to try to beat you off the dribble if they can't. Their coaches, they want to get it to the middle and spray it out. So I'd kind of bait them, like, all right, throw it to the middle. You're either going to throw it up high and the bigs don't get it. If you throw it on the ground, I'm going to steal it. So I would kind of bait them and wait for it. So, yeah, it was good. People are actually laughing today. They're like, how you get defensive team in the zone? And I'm like, but everybody thinks it's easy, though. Everybody thinks it's easy and we're just chilling.
It's not.
Yeah, but
Syracuse is always
I just kind of learned it.
Syracuse is always top in steals in their conference every year. It seems like they usually have like 1 or 2 guys who are always averaging like 1.5, 2, 3 steals. Like I know Trevor was at one. Trevor was great in the zone. Trev was. Frank Howard I remember when I was on staff, he was like 2 steals. So you gotta it's not like you said, you're not just fucking standing there. It's
instincts,
a lot of Exactly. You gotta fucking you gotta be a basketball player. And I know fucking you're smart. Right when you said talking about Jamie Dixon, he probably shouldn't have called that timeout. Man, half the motherfucking basketball players on the court couldn't tell you if that was a smart move or not. So that goes to show you're like your basketball intellect right there. You know what I'm saying? Just being a point. Yeah,
I was happy actually going back to that because it was like everybody was kind of waiting. Like I think the ref knew he was gonna call the timeout and he was waiting. And I'm thinking in my head, like, what the fuck are you about to do? Like, you're about to throw the ball in. They probably going to double. I'm like, yo, this shit going to be bad. Like, I don't know how I'm going to get across the court. So once Coach drew it up and kind of got 2 guys out, I'm like, oh, that's easy. I'm going to have 1 guy on me. But, yeah, it was definitely just once I learned it, I kind of knew exactly what teams are going to try to do in the zone and kind of manipulated it from there.
You were also part of that first Duke game at the Dome, and biggest crowd ever for a college basketball game. Maybe you could walk us through that, and even hit on the fact did Coach specifically tell you guys in overtime when Jabari Parker fouled out to get Jeremy the ball?
Yeah. I actually have a story about that Duke game. I'll tell you in a second. But they had Dawkins on him. Andre Dawkins, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Jeremy. So he was literally like, come down, Jeremy, stay in the paint, and literally just throw it above the rim. So I was just literally just throwing it up there. Jeremy's probably the most athletic guy I played with, and he'd just go up and grab it. And yeah, we just kind of manipulated that in the overtime, and that's kind of how we won. But the Duke game, we played Wake Forest a few days before, and I rolled my ankle bad. So leading up to the Duke game, we were medication and treatment and all that. So the night before the game, I had like a crazy like stomach bug. I remember I got back to South Campus, and I called Red. I'm like, yo, you need to come here, bro. Like, there's nobody here, and I'm going through it. So he pulled up. And then the next day I was like, he's like, you need to go to the hospital? I'm like, if I go to the hospital, I'm not going to play tomorrow. So I woke up, I went to sleep, woke up the next day. I didn't eat anything. Like, I didn't want to eat. I thought I was going to throw up. And so the doctor's like, you just have a bug. So so that whole game, I was kind of like lethargic, to be honest, even more than normal. But I started the game and I scored, and I'm like, all right, we good now. But I was just super nervous because I knew the magnitude of the game. And I'm like, if I come out here and lay an egg, they're never gonna let me hear the end of this. But nobody cares that I'm sick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they never know that
It's a
part.
Tyler Ennis flu game.
Yeah,
30,
my flu game.
35,000, 36,000 motherfuckers was definitely gonna be on your head.
Yeah, they would have been on me, especially if I did some like whatever. I'm just tired, and you do some lazy shit. I'm like, nah. If I'm out there, I gotta, you know what I mean? Make this go.
Yeah. But one thing I know about Q's fans, bro. Like they respect if you just give that effort and you go as hard as you can. You know what I'm saying? Like they can't. You're gonna miss shots. You're gonna turn the ball over. We gonna lose games, but they gonna see that effort. You gotta respect that. You know what I'm saying? Like
for sure.
That's what. You know what I mean? Yo, Paulie, so out of all the freshman years, Tyler got to be probably, and you know Paulie because you've seen everyone come through. What?
Yeah, I'm old.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm old.
You're old. You're old as fuck. Yeah. So out of all the freshmen, where would you rank Tyler having those freshmen?
Well,
he's got to be top 3, right? Top 5.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've been around Carmelo, probably number 1 without a doubt, right?
For sure.
No questions asked. You know, and I was saying to him is what he did was Coach Boeheim assures us every year that freshmen can't play point guard, and he came in and did it. So, you know, Johnny Flynn was really good as a freshman, right?
Really fucking good. Fucking good.
So, yeah, there's not many that had a better freshman year, you know.
Yeah, he got to be top 5. I mean, did
a lot of accolades too. Them accolades ain't. Come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, just like you got to like when you think
I could come up with 2 maybe, right? So
when you think about Syracuse and you think about guards for real. I mean, obviously DC and shit, but like the guard play at Syracuse has always been like here. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think just to be put in that type of category, bro, like that's fucking outstanding. You know what I'm saying? So like career you had, you know, 1-year career at Syracuse and shit, you with the all-time greats. You know what I'm saying? So
Jerry maybe.
G-Mac, yeah.
You got a
G-Mac,
picture in the Medal Center? I know your picture somewhere in that medal.
Yeah.
Are you on that big? You're in the big. I call it the Century team. Are you on that big photo? Or you got your own solo joint too, don't you?
I got both, yeah. But
That's big time.
When that came out,
that's big time.
Yeah. No, it definitely is kind of surreal. Obviously, I came here because the guards and everything, but the guard tradition is just, you know, something you want to be a part of. So I think just being able to be mentioned in with those guys, I think is you know, shows a lot. And I think when that picture came out and it has everybody on it, and I see myself, I was like, damn, you know what I mean? Like that's something big to be a part of.
Too. So. That ain't going nowhere. That's gonna be there forever. As long as Melo is standing, that's gonna be there, man. So that's dope. That's really
so you
dope.
had a unbelievable career at Cuse. Now you decided to declare for the draft. this is everybody's dream growing up playing the NBA. Whoever loves ball, that's what you want to do. So now you get to that night, you get drafted, you hear your name called, you shake his hand. What's that feeling like, bro? Your family, take me through all the emotions, the feelings, all that.
Yeah, I'm not too emotional. I think that night, it became real. Obviously, that was officially when I was an NBA player, but it didn't hit me until like afterwards. Like I think into the first game. Like I kind of just operated as if I was like going into another season with a new team. Obviously, money and off the court stuff is different, but I didn't understand the magnitude. I kind of like that was my plan. It sounds crazy, but like I knew I was going to shake his hand one day. I knew I was going to do this, so I wasn't like I appreciated it, but I wasn't like, you know what I mean, looking at it the way I probably should have and enjoyed the moment. But yeah, I was like, draft day was amazing. I don't think I cared where I went. Obviously now I do. I could have been in a lot better situation getting drafted. But I'm like, whoever picks me, I know I was going in the first round. I didn't think there was nobody said I was in a slip for any reason. So I'm like, wherever I go, bro, I'm gonna be happy and I'm gonna go and work. You know what I mean? So I did want to go to Toronto though. I was after.
That would have been dope.
That's the crib.
I wanted to go to Orlando. Yeah, Orlando had number 4 and 12 that year, and so that's kind of my range. I'm like, I knew they were going to get a big and a guard, so they were going to get a big with the fourth pick, and the 12th. I was thirsty. I'm like, I really want to go there. They were terrible. I knew I would play a lot. And then they picked.
That's what you gotta do. You gotta be on a team that's terrible so you can play, man, for real.
That's the opportunity.
When I slipped past there, I wanted to go to Toronto. Yeah, for sure. I needed that. So, but yeah, once they didn't pick me, I'm like, all right, I hope I drop. I want to go to Toronto because it's the crib, but also they had no. This is before Corey Joseph signed there, so they had no backup point guard at the time. So, but Phoenix drafted
and
me.
You went a pick right before that, right there. That you said they had the 20th pick, and you went
2
right before.
I went 18th. I went 18th.
Okay,
they were 20.
18th. No,
and there was rumors too that they were going to trade for me after I got drafted. So they kind of they're like, you might want to not take pictures with this hat yet. And I was excited, and then they're like, nah, never mind.
Go ahead, take the pictures. Go ahead, take the pictures.
I mean, Joe knows. Obviously, Joe knows, and like, it's huge when you get into because there's so many talent. Everybody couldn't fucking play in the league. We know talented, but it's more about, like Joe said, having an opportunity and then getting drafted by a team that's going to give you that opportunity, right? And I mean, you've seen guys where they just on the bench and they don't even get an opportunity to show themselves. They might not even get a fucking opportunity to play and practice. You know what I'm saying? And you two guys know that firsthand. So kind of talk about how important it is. And Joe, I want you to touch on it as well. How important it is to really get to a team that is going to support you in getting better and then giving you a chance to get better. Because a lot of teams you go to, they just be like, oh, fuck this motherfucker. You know what I mean? We ain't even worried about it. How important is it to get to an organization with the coaching staff that wants to help you out and get your game better?
Yeah, man. I think that's the main factor of success in the NBA is the team you go to. Because like you said, everybody can play. Most guys, would you say 90%? If you give them the opportunity, you can be like, yo, he could hoop. But
exactly.
I got drafted to Phoenix, who had Eric Bledsoe, Goran Dragic, and Isaiah Thomas all on the roster. So I was the 4th point guard as a first round pick. And then all of them requested trade, and everybody gets traded. So I was like, not only did I go to a bad situation, but the team got blown up, and I was a part of that as well. So it was just like
control and shit. Nothing you could do about that team. That's the fucked up thing about it. It's nothing you can do about it.
Not one thing.
So that's terrible.
But I mean, fortunate to get drafted in the first round, and but I think that's probably, I can't think of a worse situation to get drafted to than that. But yeah, it's a competitive league, man. There's minimum 60 players coming in every year, more coming from overseas and undrafted, and there's 2 ways now, and it's
Shit
competitive
crazy.
as hell, bro. There's only so many spots, so.
Yeah.
What was your favorite organization that you played? Because you went to LA, you got a chance to play with one of the greatest players of all time. And just talk about that experience and it's like, you know, off the court shit. I talked to Wes one time, Wes Johnson, about playing with Kobe, and he's telling me that Kobe hit him up in the summer one time like, hey, let's go work out. You know what I mean? And it got to be fucking, I don't know, 5 a.m. or some shit. And then he come back at 10, then he come back at 4, like that. But he said, Wes said one of the workouts wasn't even, it ain't even have no ball. It wasn't even no basketball. They were just doing defensive slides full court for like 10 straight minutes. Full court defensive slides.
Oh my
He get to the elbow drop, half court drop. What was that like playing with Kobe? Did you ever like experience anything like that where you see him just having some crazy ass shit going on?
Yeah, I missed Kobe by a year.
Oh, you missed Kobe? Fuck, man.
I missed Kobe by a year. Like, he played last year. I was on the team this year, and then I missed LeBron by a year as well. Like, there's 2 years in between. Okay. I was there for those 2 years, so I literally could have played with both, but I didn't. But I think you asked my favorite organization. I think the Lakers, based on the opportunity I got to play, and in probably one of the, outside of probably MSG, it's one of the best arenas to play in, and the entertainment side of things, and living in LA. But I think I enjoyed Milwaukee as well, because it went from when I got traded there, it was like, not everything wasn't in order. They were kind of figuring stuff out. They got the new ownership, and I seen kind of the first couple of years of that like climb of Giannis, and the organization, and then they won the chip, obviously. So obviously I wasn't there for a few years in between, but I just felt like they deserved it based on all the investment they were making in their players and facilities and everything like that, and building a new arena. So I was there for that, and then the championship was kind of, I thought they deserved it.
Was J Kidd your coach? Was J Kidd who was your coach? No, it was J Kidd. So that was dope. You mentioned earlier that Steve Nash, who obviously we get a chance to see firsthand with the national team, and then now you said J Kidd, who was also. We got some ties, man. I know Steve, and J Kidd was my coach for about 2 months and shit before I got traded back to Boston. But so how was it playing for someone who you looked up to and modeled your game after?
It was good. I mean, I think he had such high standards, obviously being a player. But I just think his IQ stood out. He could kind of tell you what's going to happen in the next few plays based on a bunch of things, and they always happen the exact way he said it. But yeah, learning from him, I think was big for me, and he kind of taught me how much I thought I worked hard, and in college I did work hard, but I think it's a different level in the NBA of like, he's like, no, you got to, when we land in the city, we're going to the gym, and then before shoot around, we're going to shoot, then after shoot around, then you're going to be there 3 hours for the game. Then if you don't shoot well, go back to it. Like, I was like, yo, is everybody doing this? And they're like, yeah, that's the stuff you don't see. So, we definitely put in some work there. We were a young team. We weren't very good. I think we made the playoffs my first year there, missed it the second. But yeah, we were working, man. We were all young for the most part. So we essentially were like a college team with how much we were in the gym.
Yeah, that's dope. That's real dope, man. You got to play with some Hall of Fame coach, Hall of Fame player. He was future Hall of Fame players. You know what I mean? So that's really an experience that not everybody can speak on, man. Hell of an experience, man. You definitely should be proud of your journey. You're still on it. You went overseas. You've been through, like you said, injuries, came back, fought back, still playing at a very high level. You know what I mean? I see you in the Champions League going crazy. So you definitely should be proud of everything that you were able to accomplish throughout your career, from going to St. Benedict's, which, we have the Canadian stigma. You go there, they don't expect much of us. You know what I'm saying? When you go over there, you probably have to fight for everything. You have to fight and get all the scraps that you could, and so you always have to, everywhere you went, you kind of had to, build yourself up again, man. So definitely be proud of your journey and everything that you were able to accomplish, bro, for real. I was always in the
Thank
side.
you,
I
bro.
was always in the back, man. Super proud. Always in the background, you know. I hit you everything, and just, you know what I mean. That's just what it is. Proud of you, bro. Just being Canadian, going to Q's, like I know what it's like.
Appreciate you guys, bro. Coming from y'all
Yo,
too,
T.
especially. Appreciate it.
Oh, T, I gotta, before you get out of here, because I know we got practice soon, you know what I mean? So we gonna let you get up out of here. But I just want you to touch on what we got going on right now, bro. Talk about the TBT. You know, this is your first time playing in it, you know, coming back in the summertime, being together with the
First
guys.
time back
And
in
then kind of
Q's.
for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, shit. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what's up.
For like 6-7 years, yeah.
Touch on the young fella
Yeah.
yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, man. As far as the TBT goes, I think it's a great opportunity. In no other way would I be able to play in Syracuse again, as far as, you know, play a game in front of the fans and be here working out and being around the young guys. So I think that was a part of it. Obviously, playing for Boeheim's Army, but, you know, the TBT is exciting, man. You got, you know, a bunch of dudes playing for money. So every year I watch and you know, as a hooper, that's something you want to be a part of. You just see the excitement in the game, obviously with the ending. And so, yeah, watching Devo and them win last year was I always told Bebby I was interested in playing and shit just never lined up right. So this year I was free and looking, you know, to get some game action as well and play in front of my family. So yeah, I'm just excited to play in front of the Q's fans, but also excited to you know, repeat and you know, I just seen how much fun and how much pride people had and still have in them winning last year. So I think you know, it's something another thing to be a part of in the Q's community if we are able to win it. But yeah, the young boys, yeah, we scrimmaged them yesterday, man. I think they're on the right track for sure. You know, I really like a bunch of their players individually, and you know, we know the coaching staff is going to get them together team wise. So I think you know, they have a really good chance to be really good this year, and obviously it's super early as well. You know, we're still in the summer, but from what we've seen, and Devo, you could probably, you know, touch on it as well. I think they have potential. You know, we probably got a couple first round picks as well if everything goes right for them.
Really?
And they stay on this track.
That's what's up.
They got some
So
length and
who stood out?
athleticism. So probably Judah, he tough. Like Judah tough.
Yeah.
I like the Copeland kid. He aggressive too. He a big guard.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Quadier. Yeah, and then Chris Bunch, he could shoot it. But they all young, so you know they're gonna have their ups and downs during the year. But like when you from the eye test, when you look at this team, you like, damn, that's Syracuse, yo. That's the Syracuse fucking team.
Yeah.
I'm talking about. They just go like this, and now the whole court covers. You know what I mean? So it's they got the length, the wings, they got the big guards, they got guards who could kind of just get it and make a play without having to, like, you know, set a fucking play. You can just get it and go ahead. And we're used to having guards like that on the floor where they could just make things happen for themselves. So I think it's a team that's going to be fun to watch. You know, like some plays where you'd be like, damn, this motherfucker just dunked on him like that, or he hit him with something like that. They got those type of guys, so it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, exciting. I think it'll be a real exciting team. And it looks like Joe is in for a big year as well. Obviously, he's bringing the experience for them. So I think that'll be a huge part, you know, with the young guys, him being able to kind of lead them. So, you know, wanted to give him a shout out because he played real well yesterday.
And being off the ball.
Yeah, the fans probably don't.
Yeah.
The fans probably don't want to hear that.
That's why I said it.
He's gonna be way more comfortable playing off the ball, and you could just see it yesterday. He doesn't have to fucking think about making decisions for everybody else. He could just come off and score the motherfucker. That's it. You know. So
Before we get going, how did Samir play? How you look? Was he there? Did he hoop?
Okay. He was hurt or something. He was just chilling. But he gonna be again. He's got experience. He knows how to play the game. He's gonna be steady. He's gonna be a fucking pest on defense, and he's gonna make other guys' job easier. You know, you can put guys in their spots.
Yeah.
I mean, when we went to Brooklyn and we saw him play against Duke. Yeah, I mean, he played really good, like a starting college point guard. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
They got some talent to work with. We'll see, man. But T, man, we appreciate you hopping on, bro. Like you said, it was overdue, and hopefully we have you come on next time and you are fucking with 100 racks in your pocket. You know what I mean?
For sure, that's the plan, bro. But yeah, thanks for having me on, y'all. This was fun.
And I look forward to playing 2-on-2 against you and Chris with that.
I need another player.
All right, y'all.
All right, y'all.
Yeah,
thank you.